This is Face the Nation, broadcasting live from the CNN IBN headquarters in New Delhi with Sagarika Ghosh.
A very good evening. Today is November 1st, which can be called Delhi's Genocide Day. It was today, 27 years ago, that the streets of Delhi ran with blood. On 1st November 1984, a deadly pogrom was unleashed against the Sikh community, in which almost 3,000 Sikhs were hacked and burnt to death. Now, the Gujarat riots of 2002 have created nationwide outrage, but have the 1984 Delhi riots been largely forgotten? And joining us tonight to ask if Delhi 1984 can be compared to Gujarat 2002, Harvinder Singh Fulka, senior lawyer, co-author of the book When a Tree Shook Delhi on the 1984 Delhi riots, someone who for over 2 decades has pursued the cause of justice for Delhi riot victims. Manish Tiwari, MP and spokesperson of the Congress party, joining us. Jainan Vyas, spokesperson and health minister of the Gujarat government, joining us. Of the BJP, right here in our studio, Manoj Mitta, senior journalist, senior editor of the Times of India and co-author of the book When a Tree Shook Delhi, also someone who for the last 2 decades has been carrying on that campaign for the victims of the Delhi riots. We're asking the question, can the Gujarat riots of 2002 be compared to the Delhi riots of 1984? Are the Delhi riots of 1984 even more shocking? Let's kick it off with Mr. Harvinder Singh Fulka. Mr. Fulka, you have been knocking at the doors of justice since 1984. You have not been able to secure very many convictions. Is this because of the lack of evidence that you are able to provide? Are you satisfied with the kind of justice that you have got so far?
Not at all. Actually, there has not been any justice at all. Where is the question of being satisfied with the justice? I mean, since last 27 years, the Congress government, whenever they have come to power, they have tried their best to scuttle the process of law, and they have tried to shield the guilty, and there has not been any justice at all.
But Mr. Fulka, can you really compare 1984 to 2002 as many have done? Because many would say that, 1984, Indira Gandhi, the towering prime minister, was assassinated. That assassination came after over a decade of violent Sikh militancy. Can this kind of context really be compared to 2002, which was much more of an orchestrated riot, many would say?
No, you see, 1984 was much worse than Gujarat. In 1984, there has not been even a single instance in Delhi where any Sikh has attacked any non-Sikh. I mean, it is the carnage. It's actually a genocide. What happened in 1984? It was only the Congress workers and leaders who were attacking the Sikhs, taking out from their houses, killing them. The whole police force was with them, supporting them, disarming the Sikhs. Whosoever is trying to defend himself was arrested. This is the state of affair in 1984. Now in Gujarat also the things were very bad. Well, we say that even in the Gujarat also the guilty should be punished. Modi is responsible for Gujarat. But as far as the 1984 is concerned, it was much worse than Gujarat.
1984 was much worse than Gujarat. Let's put that to you, Manish Tiwari. The fact is, in 1984, there's witness testimony that Congress leaders were actually out on the streets leading the mobs. This is not necessarily the case in Gujarat. Also, if I may draw your attention to some statistics, 2,733 were killed in Delhi, 1,000 were killed in Gujarat. Of the 1,000 killed in Gujarat, 790 were Muslims, 254 were Hindus. But in Delhi, only Sikhs were killed. So it turns out that Delhi was a genocide, whereas Gujarat satisfies the definition of a riot.
Sagarika, first of all, allow me to very unambiguously put it on record that I hold no brief for anybody who was guilty of the riots of 1984. Since I come from Punjab and I grew up on the trench lines of terror, I lost a father to terrorism. I come from a family which is half Hindu, half Jat Sikhs. I had friends who unfortunately became victims in the 84 riots. So personally, for me, those 6 months between the April of 1984 when I lost my father and the November of 1984 when these riots took place was the worst period of my life. So therefore, I can personally say that I hold no brief for anybody who was instrumental in either organizing, orchestrating or operationalizing those riots which took place in 1984. I have tremendous respect personally for Mr. Fulka and the cause that he has been pursuing. I do firmly believe that there can be no comparison between one riot and another, and no riot can justify or be an excuse for another riot. All those who are responsible for the 84 riots must be brought to justice, and if the Indian judicial system has failed to deliver, and of course Mr. Fulka is entitled to his point of view, which I may not fully agree with, but I do admit that yes, it has been a failing of the system, and even today you have people not only in Delhi, but I have the largest number of right settlers in my constituency in Ludhiana who are still waiting for justice, and I think that's something which the Indian state seriously needs to look at even today.
Let's put your view to Mr. Jainuddin Vyas. Mr. Jainuddin Vyas of the BJP, what you're hearing from Manish Tiwari is what a number of Congress leaders have voiced as well. They have distanced themselves from the riots of 1984. They have expressed their remorse. They have said they are sorry that it happened. The Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh, has himself given an apology. This is not the kind of language, the language that Manish Tiwari is speaking, that we even hear from the BJP or the VHP or other Sangh outfits. We don't hear the BJP ever express any remorse, ever distance itself from the riots, ever give an apology. Mr. Narendra Modi himself has never expressed any remorse.
Well, one thing, Sagarika, I will fully endorse what Manish has said is that riots are riots. You cannot compare one riot, another riot and say this was better than this riot or that riot. They are the incidences which do not do any good to the mankind, and no civilized society should ever endorse this or that.
But why not give an apology? Why not give an apology for the riot, just as Manmohan Singh has given an apology for 1984?
This is precisely where I differ with you, that you as a media also have taken up the kind of a tirade with your own self-appointed style of kind of sitting over the judgment, that you offer the apology, then only you are coming clean out of it. What has been said earlier, I mean, there is a marked difference between what happened in Delhi, what happened in Gujarat. That is number one. Number two, you must know that more people have been killed in police firing. The administration was not sitting like a lame duck and watching the show as it is made out to be. But perhaps the dimension of the trouble was so large that what could have been possibly best perhaps was not done as it was expected. Now nobody has justified ki nahi jo hua wo sahi hua hai. That is not the case. So question of saying that now we apologize for something for which you are not at guilt at all. It is unnecessary planting a guilt where it is not. You are trying to work with a double-edged sword. If you apologize, you say you are guilty. The 1984,
no, but the fact is, Mr. Jainuddin Vyas, that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
For Dr. Manmohan Singh to apologize because there was a judicial commission which held a particular segment of the society responsible for the genocide against the Sikhs. This is not the case as far as Gujarat is concerned.
Well, we see then in that case, we see that BJP still continuing with its double speak on the Gujarat riots over there. Let me come to you. When it comes actually to convictions, in Gujarat, the record is much better than it is in Delhi. There have been many more convictions in Gujarat in the riot cases than there have been in Delhi. In Delhi, 3,000 were killed. There are only 13 convictions. In Gujarat, there are over 20 convictions. So as far as the justice process is concerned, you could say that the justice delivery process has been better in Gujarat than it has been in Delhi.
Well, that's no consolation at all, because after all, a lot of this Gujarat legal process has been going on under the Supreme Court's supervision. monitoring. So you have to bear that in mind. And they have also received this jolt of 2 cases being actually moved out of their jurisdiction. I mean, that was such a blow to the system. Best Bakery, and you had this mass rape.
So you can't really give Gujarat much credit for that.
No, I mean the environment is different.
The environment is different. The media is there. The media,
There's so much more monitoring. There's so much more vigilance on the part of citizenry, civil society.
Isn't that a point, Manish Tiwari, that the Congress and Rajiv Gandhi to some extent have got away because the media was not there in 1984. The fact is the media was very much there in 2002 in Gujarat, which is why it's burned into our consciousness. 1984 therefore has been largely forgotten because the images have not been captured as vividly.
Well, Sagarika, allow me to make 2 points. First of all, if you recall, I think possibly you personally would be old enough to recall that after the assassination of late Mrs. Indira Gandhi, it was actually Mr. Rajiv Gandhi who, as Prime Minister, went around Delhi trying to allay the apprehensions of the people, trying to ensure that law and order be restored. So therefore, to hold Mr. Rajiv Gandhi responsible, I think, is being a trifle unfair. And number 2, insofar as the media is concerned, I think you had an equally proactive...
Mr. Tiwari, if I may butt in.
May I just complete? May I just complete?
Okay.
And insofar as the media is concerned, you had an equally proactive media in 1984. But that is not to say that there has not been a systemic failing. Again, I would like to reiterate where I started with.
There was a systemic failing.
Unfortunately, justice to the victims of the 84 riots is long overdue, and I think there is a serious need to address it in totality. If at all there is any justice which can be delivered even today, all of us should collectively endeavor to see that those people who lost their kith and kin in this unfortunate situation, their quest for justice does get addressed.
That's a good point. Let me just take a break. But before that, let me just put to Mr. Fulka your point about Rajiv Gandhi. Mr. Fulka, should you keep blaming Rajiv Gandhi? As Manish Tiwari is saying, Rajiv Gandhi did, at the end of the day, commissions of inquiry were set up. Those who were responsible were consigned to political oblivion, like Sajjan Kumar, like Jagdish Taitler later on, though. So, in fact, the government did act. Can you squarely put the blame on Rajiv Gandhi as you are doing?
You see, on the 7th of November, the political leaders of many parties, they go to Rajiv Gandhi and they give him the name of Sajjan Kumar and other MPs of Congress leaders who are involved in the killing of the Sikhs. And Rajiv Gandhi said, no action against any Congress person, no action will be taken. I mean, on 7th November 84 itself, the Rajiv Gandhi is giving the clean chit to everybody. I mean, whoever is involved. The victims are making the statement, they are saying, everybody is saying, is naming them, he is giving them the clean chit. Now, after that, on 19th November, in the rally, Rajiv Gandhi tried to just show it that nothing has happened. That kind of attitude. But from there, the attitude of shielding the guilty starts. And that is when the government and the police and everybody started that the guilty are not to be punished, they are to be protected, and that clearly shows that the manner in which the police is conducting investigation, they are not registering the cases, and they are not even showing the number of killings.
Right.
I mean, till 1987, even the official figure of killing didn't come out. Now, the Home Minister gave the statement in the floor of the House in second week of November that only 600 people have been killed throughout India.
Right.
Now, on 16th of November, Mr. Bajpai, who was the leader of the opposition, he came out with a list of 2,806 who have been killed in Delhi alone. Now, Congress said Bajpai is anti-national. He is favoring the Sikhs. He is exaggerating the figure. But after 3 years, the Congress government of Rajiv Gandhi itself came out with a report that 2,733 were killed. I mean, it took them 3 years even to certain how many people are killed. I mean, they were treating as these. I mean, they were not even the human beings at all. I mean, as if some Kida Makoda has been killed and the government is not worried at all, even to a certain what.
The government was treating the Sikhs like Kida Makoda have been killed. Manish Tiwari, if in Gujarat a chief minister is culpable, in 1984 Delhi a prime minister is culpable, according to Mr. Fulka there.
Well, I can understand Mr. Fulka's agitation, since he's been fighting for justice for the last 27 years. But also let us not forget that it was a Congress government which immediately appointed a commission of inquiry, allowed that commission of inquiry.
But those were whitewashes. Those were whitewashes. All those commissions whitewashed the guilty and shielded the guilty.
Well, Sagarika, I would appreciate if you do not interrupt. If we are going to term a commission of inquiry as a whitewash, I don't think we are really casting aspersions on the executive. We are casting aspersions on the probity of those judicial officers. So therefore, be that as it may, the facts remain that a judicial commission of inquiry was constituted. It went into the entire issue at length.
Right.
It recommended prosecutions, and that is from where the whole process really takes off. So therefore, again, I am not saying that again, Sagarika, I am not saying that I hold any brief or anything.
Okay, you've made that point, Manish. You've made that point, but I'm going to come back. We have to take a break. We have to take a break. When we come back, we'll ask Manish Tiwari, why is it that HKL Bhagat, the Congress leader of Delhi, who was very much charged with complicity in those riots, was later then even a Congress chief ministerial candidate in Delhi. We'll come back and ask that to Manish Tiwari. Welcome back to Face the Nation. Today is 1st November. 27 years ago, 1st November was Genocide Day in Delhi. 3,000 Sikhs were hacked to death in Delhi, and the guilty to this day have still not been brought to book. We're asking, can the Delhi riots of 1984 be compared to the Gujarat riots of 2002, which have burned themselves into our consciousness so very forcefully? Let's start with putting it to Mr. Fulka. What Manish Tiwari was saying, just to take off from what Manish Tiwari is saying. Mr. Fulka, Manish Tiwari is repeatedly distancing himself from the riots. Manmohan Singh has given an apology. He has apologized to the nation unqualifiedly. Are you not happy with that apology that the Congress has made for the riots, for failing to prevent the riots?
To change the law of the country, and you say that if a murderer apologizes, he need to, then he is left and no punishment to him. But change the law of the country, then they may be justified in talking about it. When the law of the country says a murderer who has committed a murder, he may apologize, he may do whatever he wants, whatever time may elapse, a murderer need to be punished. Now, if now Sajjan Kumar and Jagdish Titler, they have committed the murders, they need to be punished. The apology is no excuse to not to punish them. And secondly, the shielding of the guilty even continues till today by this government. I mean, till today they are totally protecting and shielding the guilty. That's still continuing. And we are only saying, we are not brooding over the past. We are not taking any revenge. It is to secure the future of the nation. What we are saying, to secure the future of the nation, punish these who are guilty. If you forget 84 today, then you forget Mumbai 1993, then you forget Gujarat 2002, then be prepared for another one. If the guilty of 1984 had been punished, you wouldn't have faced this kind of a killing in Mumbai and in Gujarat.
You had a point for Manish Tiwari.
Yeah, it just occurred to me that we are holding this discussion on impunity on a day when a major milestone has been crossed. Match fixing has just now resulted in conviction. Now, this problem we have lived with for barely 10 or 15 years. But the problem of political complicity in communal violence, we have lived throughout our independent history. And yet, we have so far not had a single instance of any political leader being convicted. And it is not because of
whether it's HKL Bhagat, let's come to the Congress. Whether it's HKL Bhagat,
whether it's Sajjan Kumar, whether it's
Jagdish Titler, whether it is Kamal Nath.
Whether it is any of these leaders, it is not because of systemic failure, as Manish was suggesting a while ago, that we have done whatever we could but then system fails. It is not because of that. You look at what is happening to Sajjan Kumar, for instance. In 1992, Delhi police actually signed and prepared a charge sheet which they did not file at all to date. Right? In 2005, on the decision taken by the centre to transfer all these political cases to CBI, a case relating to Sajjan Kumar was transferred in October 2005 to CBI. And then 2 months later, Delhi police has the gumption, because of the pressure they are under, to file a closure report and exonerate Sajjan Kumar. Now this matter came to light. This matter came to light last year in the Delhi High Court, which passed strictures on the Delhi police and directed the commissioner to take action against guilty police officials.
And perhaps even more,
you can imagine how much the system has been compromised to shield political leaders.
And to shield
so that is what is happening. It is not because of any abstract problem of systemic failure. Let's understand that it is happening because it is being deliberately subverted.
Has deliberately shielded the people who were guilty in 1984.
Although the Prime Minister has apologized and assured the nation that justice would be done, this is what is happening behind the scenes.
Manish Tiwari, HKL Bhagat,
and this is not my allegation. The Delhi High Court has brought out this subversion.
HKL Bhagat, if I'm not mistaken, joined the Union Cabinet a month after the riots, and then subsequently became the chief ministerial candidate.
And that titler became a minister for the first time within a month of the riots.
Within the month of the riots.
You can imagine how
so it was
people who were involved in the riots were being rewarded.
Yeah, Manish Tiwari, people who were involved in the riots were rewarded. HKL Bhagat joined the cabinet, Titler became a minister. Both of them are accused in the riots.
If a party that pretends to be secular has not been able to, counter the Modi phenomenon, it is because of this gap between what they profess and what they practice.
And the practice. Manish Tiwari.
Well, allow me to reject those assertions right away. As and when it came to light that yes, there are substantive allegations against people of their complicity in riots, the Congress party not only removed them from party positions, denied them tickets to parliament and distanced the party from themselves completely. And number two, I would like to underscore that in no manner have we attempted to subvert the system, have we attempted to shield the accused.
Well, I just told you about what happened in the case of
if at all there has been allow me to complete, Manoj, allow me to complete. Allow me to complete. Now, if you keep on interrupting and you're not going to hear me,
we have a judgment of the Delhi High Court.
Monologue.
Mr. Tiwari, we have a judgment of the Delhi High Court.
If there is a judgment of the Delhi High Court against certain officials of the Delhi police,
for shielding
I think
Sajjan
they need
Kumar
to be proceeded against and they need to be brought to justice.
Let me put to Fulka.
As I earlier stated, the Congress party or the UPA government does not hold
you've made that point, Manish.
A brief for anybody who's guilty of any involvement in any riot.
You've made that point. We need to talk specifics. Let me put it to Mr. Fulka. Mr. Fulka, why are you going after Kamal Nath when clearly Kamal Nath, for example, when you're clearly the evidence perhaps is not holding up? There is a case against Kamal Nath in the US court. Do you believe that there is enough evidence to indict him? He is a very, very senior minister. He's a very high-profile member of the Congress.
Case against Kamal Nath is the strongest case. The Kamal Nath's name appeared on 2nd November in the newspaper. The independent witnesses, the newspaper reporters say Kamal Nath was leading the mob at Gurdwara Rakabganj on 1st November. 2 Sikhs were killed and burnt alive in Rakabganj, and Gurdwara was burnt. Now, the police records also show that the Kamal Nath was present there. Now, this evidence is much more than enough to try the Kamal Nath. Then he has to come to the court and show his innocence. Now, in his own reply to Nanavati Commission, he admitted that he was present there. Now he has to show that if he was present, killing was going on, what he was doing all this 2 hours over there, when in front of him the killing was going on. If he was trying to protect the Sikhs, then 2 Sikhs who were burnt and they were injured and they were lying there in that state for 2 hours before they die. What if he was there to protect the Sikhs? What did he do about as far as those are concerned? The police was under his command. The police was following his orders. That's what the witnesses say. Then why couldn't they shift these 2 injured persons to even to hospital?
Okay.
That obviously shows they were there to kill, but not to save anybody.
This is the book written by H.S. Fulka and Manoj Mitta, When a Tree Shook Delhi. It's a chilling account of how senior Congress leaders were there in the mob, inciting them to a riot and to kill. Of those senior members, Kamal Nath's name features. But the point is, you can't indict people on the basis of books. The fact is, you are answerable to the process of law. There may not be in a riot situation. Often there is simply not that kind of evidence to say, okay, you are the one we can pin homicide on, because these are conflicting witness testimonies. It's a chaotic situation. You often don't. You have to, after all, be answerable to the law.
As a matter of fact, in Kamal Nath's case, what happened was Kamal Nath himself acknowledged his presence there, because there were these affidavits filed by independent witnesses like Sanjay Suri, and there were police officers also who were present on the spot and who had no option but to acknowledge that
so you think the
this
case
man
against
was there.
Kamal Nath is a watertight case?
It is very strong.
But
I mean, I'm not prejudging him, but it is a case that warrants a trial, because he is himself admitting that he is present on. He was present at the time on the spot.
The case warrants a trial.
And all that remains to be tested is whether he was there to protect those victims, or he was there as part of the larger problem.
Okay,
because
let's put that to Manish Tiwari. Do you want to respond to that, Mr. Manish Tiwari?
Congress leaders were complicit. So was Kamal Nath the sole exception to that general rule is what remains to be seen.
Do you want to quickly respond to that?
Well, Sagarika, my response is the same as to what I had said earlier. If there is any person who even has an iota of involvement in any riot, he should be punished in accordance with the law, and the Congress party or anybody else does not hold any brief for anybody. Does not hold any brief for anybody. That is the bottom line.
Okay, that's the bottom line.
That has been our consistent stand all throughout.
Right.
Let's bear in mind that when an American court issued a notice to Kamal Nath, the Indian government jumped to Kamal Nath's defense and sought immunity for him. Now, this is for an allegation against his personal role during the riots when he was not even in the government.
Right. Unfortunately, we're completely out of time. I'm going to give the last word to Mr. H.S. Phulka. Mr. H.S. Phulka, isn't it clear, though, that in the Gujarat case, the state agencies perhaps aided and abetted the rioters more, or do you feel the same happened in Delhi?
In Gujarat, it was up to the level of the Chief Minister only. But here in 1984, it was involvement up to the level of the Prime Minister.
Right. So there it was the Chief Minister, here to the Prime Minister. We're completely out of time. Unfortunately, Manish Tiwari, Jainaran Vyas, H.S. Phulka, Manoj Mitra, thanks very much indeed for joining us. That's it on Face the Nation on a day when 27 years ago, 3,000 Sikhs were hacked to death. It is a day we cannot afford to forget. Thanks for watching.